doors are closed, it's Sunday night. The only bar where you won't see a fight. Just sitting down to shoot the shit. From ice cold beers to politics. Plane, train, bus, or in your car, you're always at home at The Real Bar.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Episode 1, Season 3 of The Real Bar podcast. I know we took a little bit of a break, I guess, extended break, but we're officially back with Episode 1 of Season 3. I'm back with my co-host / host, as always, RJ. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? The Real Bar is back.
Absolutely. And with our first guest of Season 3, Episode 1 is Dan, and we got a last name, Frieden. Dan Frieden, owner of Copper City Brewing. What's going on? That was right. That was good.
Good job.
Thank you.
Perfect pronunciation.
They're just making fun of me because I couldn't fucking say his last name, but whatever. It's Frieden. I'll keep saying it the rest of the episode. So we appreciate you coming on. Been a long, lengthy chain of emails, but we finally got it done. Pretty laid back guy. So the way we kind of do things here is we just jump right into it. So question number 1 is, obviously we're sitting at your brewery. What?
Oh, really?
Whatever. If anyone's not watching the video, we're at the brewery right now. Thanks for having us. But what kind of made you want to start a brewery or open a brewery, or were you always in the beer / liquor industry? Like, how'd that come about?
First time business owner. So wife said, you need to start a brewery, and I said no. And I said it a lot, and she kept saying, you need to start a brewery. And I found a guy that knew how to brew beer. I did all the shitty work, like doing all the numbers, doing a business plan. And I said, well, I guess it'll probably work. And my man Eric Daniels makes the beer. He said yes. And, my wife's been saying yes, 3 years before we opened. So once I got him on board and we did all the stuff we should do before you start a business, just launched it. And Rome's been very nice to us.
Another question following that is, I guess you said your wife kind of had the initiative. What kind of backed that, if you don't mind me asking? Was it, I don't know what she does for a living. Was it financial interest? Is there a lot of money in the brewery world?
No, it wasn't.
I personally don't know.
My wife would throw away everything in our bank accounts right now just for whatever she wanted to do next. She loves this town, and that's her downfall. And not really her downfall, that's her success. She loves this town so much, and she knew that Rome didn't have this in it. So she's like, we're doing this. And I was like, I'm good. I got a job. I'm fine. And, she really wanted to see us in town because if you follow these little breweries that start up anywhere here in the United States, when they get going, a lot of stuff comes around them. And so if you can draw people in a little bitty brewery, you're going to have a coffee shop, you're going to have a restaurant, you're going to have other little stores. So it's really, it's a sign of a city that's getting going,
Well, you mentioned like your wife had kind of the drive behind this, right? Was she born and raised here?
She was. She's got an attachment to this place. Loves everything about it.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because it's kind of funny that like we were talking before the episode, and we were talking about how people kind of don't like Rome for this or that, right? Your wife's been here her whole life. You mentioned you move around a little bit, but you guys came back, and now you're contributing to the economy in the city. You're growing this business, but you're also growing a lot of other businesses because the name that you started is spreading, and it's spreading like wildfire. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, the Copper City name's been around for a very long time. Rome's been the Copper City for many, many, many years. It just faded away. Yeah. People quit using it, and then once Lori coined the term again, it was awesome to see the offshoots. Watch it pop up on police cars and city vehicles and coffee shops. It really was. She has thousands of good ideas, but she won't watch this, will she?
I don't know.
Wait, Shark Tank opportunity in her future,
But no, honestly, that was one of the questions I told you out in the bar we were going to ask him. Personally, I don't know if maybe you do know. Did you guys bring back the name? Were you the first business around here that brought it back? No, you weren't?
Not at all.
Not bring it back?
No, I would say, gosh.
You definitely grew it.
You had Copper City Soccer Club. Yeah, you still had a few small Copper Cities out there.
I count it, but I don't count it. It's like a business, so. Was there anything else?
Yeah, was there any big businesses or businesses that are still around that were Copper City?
No, I don't think so.
No?
So that's a great question, man.
I think you brought it back.
I really think, I said it when we sat down when we came in. I go, he go, how are we going to open up this episode? And I go, I want to ask him if he knows. I'm pretty sure he brought back, I don't want to say anything false or anything, but It was pretty close. He had to be one of the ones that brought it back. I mean, now we got Copper City Ultra Lounge, we got the Coppercinos, we got Copper City Chiropractic. I mean, like you said, none of this stuff was here.
Growing quickly.
None of this stuff was here.
And like you said on the police cars, that's a great point you brought up because those cars weren't Copper City.
No.
All of a sudden, you opened this brewery up. I think it was 2 years later.
I think it was kind of.
I
think it was kind of the spark or like the straw that broke the camel's back, where everyone just realized like, wait, like we are the Copper City. Like why did we need a brewery to remind us? You know what I mean?
There's so much pride in this town, and Revere Copper is literally 2 blocks away. And you know how much everybody wants that horselet. They want that they want that neon back. They want to see that horse gallop again. Yeah. It's this. People still have a big passion for this town and for Revere Copper. And so when you bring the name Copper back into the city, it was a natural thing. People are going to jump right on board and say, "Yeah, this town really is pretty cool."
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, I'm sure you have a follow up to that. Right?
Yeah, I got a lot of follow ups. We got to stay on track here though. So like you said, it definitely. The Copper was already here with the Revere, blah, blah, like that's what we got the name from. But as far as you guys using that name, did you kind of use it to start a precedent, or like did you know what you just said? Did you know using that name or having Copper City was gonna create the interest that it did? Like I want to say your name definitely was a good reason why people started coming here. Like it's an interest. Like something Copper City. We haven't heard that in decades, possibly.
Plus the
you know what I mean?
brewery in Rome.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's plenty of reasons, but I'm.
One ever, right? Has to be.
So this
First brewery?
is the
Probably.
first brewery in over 70 years.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's a fact.
But yeah, to the name, it's just Rome's a historical town. I mean, you Fort Stanwix, Erie Canal, Fort Bull, Erie Canal Village, all that is just this town is just steeped with history. So that name like works well, I can't say that's the whole reason that we became popular really quick. But it definitely did not hurt anything. There's a brewery out in Massachusetts called Clown Shoes. God, and they're doing fine. That's the name of the brewery is Clown Shoes. So, the name is something, but, in this town, I think it's different. This town has a little more pride than, some little town out in Massachusetts who maybe they don't even have a name, so they made a brewery called Clown Shoes.
For sure. And
they got good beer, though, Clown Shoes.
I bet you people buy that beer just because it sounds cool. Clown shoes, purple, gray. I don't know,
just stupid shit. Yeah.
Sounds good.
So we just keep speaking about the town and all the pride and stuff that's around here. So when you and your wife first had this idea, or whenever you guys decided to actually put it into like fruition or whatever, do you guys think you had enough clientele around here to actually like be profitable? Because I know you said money's not your personal interest, or your wife would throw everything away, but obviously you don't want to open up a business and fail. Did you know right away that there was enough interest or clientele around here?
Yeah, we searched for me. We were out there looking at breweries for years before we ever started this place. So it was neat to see that little breweries in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking in the middle of nowhere and on a farm somewhere that would still do fine because breweries are destinations. People go on vacations around breweries and wineries and distilleries. So we knew that people would still come to it. We definitely did not count on Rome to be our main draw for clientele, but with the name we knew it would come in time. But yeah, it is something that you make it and they will come, and that day might not last forever, but 50 breweries 9 years ago, 450 breweries now.
Well,
so people are still coming.
Yeah.
Before we move off that, I do want to clear something up. Is there an affiliation between you and Copper City Ultra Lounge?
Not even a fraction.
Okay, because
we are who we are. This is the only business we have.
This is yours. It's yours and your wife's. You guys own it, and there's no. The Ultra Lounge is their own separate entity.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, that's a good thing to clear up because, not saying that the Ultra Lounge is a bad place, but this is a different
entity, separate entity,
different energy, different target, different everything.
So that and when we first opened 3 years ago, they opened just months after we did.
Yeah.
There was a lot of confusion. I mean, some guy came in one day, had cases of booze, pulled him in the back. I'm like, where are you going with that? And he goes, this is yours. I'm like, I don't think so. So we got a lot of missed deliveries. We had parties that would show up, dart leagues that would show up. And, I always sell them a beer first. Hey, you guys want a beer? Okay, cool. Like, where's the dartboards? We don't have any dartboards. But it was just in the beginning it was. Maybe for the first 6 months to a year, it was confusing. But now it's all good.
All right, that brings me into two things right there. So what he asked, that was another one of my questions. But that was something I did hear, so I was glad to kind of clear that up. I'm sure you've done it plenty of times, but I first originally heard, this is, like you said, almost 3 years ago now, that the same owner, and I didn't know you or who bought this, but I heard the same person bought both of them and was fixing them both up and had these crazy plans for that. So until literally just now, that's what I was under the impression of. Yeah.
It's not like a stigma around Rome, but it's been like a question.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you open two businesses up with the name Copper City,
Within
that's
a couple months of each other, yeah.
Yeah,
People are gonna have questions like,
we saw it coming quick, and we did. I met with the guy that I guess owns it and who was fixing it, and I said, I'm not going to tell you to change the name. I said, but if you could just emphasize Ultra Lounge, because guess what? Rome doesn't have an Ultra Lounge. Like, emphasize that word.
Yeah.
I said, and I just kind of thought that would help us through it. And I think in the end, it did kind of turn out that way. Anyway, people just call it the Ultra Lounge now, which is good.
Also, and another good thing for you is that they're not even open right now. So
I
that's
know.
a big plus for you.
I don't know. Well, I mean, the concept, what they have, is cool because it's something that Rome doesn't have.
Yeah.
It's definitely
But
cool.
I don't think you just didn't have the money in the beginning to go full up and do, a real kick-ass nightclub. But, did what he did and he get going. I thought they'd be closing the summer was surprising to me because we do well in the summer. I mean, they would have too. But
pretty much everyone. I mean, it's the summer. People are out drinking, they're out having
But
fun.
we need more places to go. So,
Yeah.
these guys, don't get their ass open.
Yeah, and it's gonna be very cool. But
Hopefully. From the blueprints, it's supposed to be cool.
Yeah.
Blueprint.
Yeah. Well, I know some contractors, and I know what the front's going to look like, and it's going to look pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Tony D'Amato's going to be like, wow.
I hope so.
Yeah, it is.
So another question while you take a sip. You kind of brought it up, really kind of just off question based solely off of myself personally. You said something about you had people coming here for dart leagues and this and that. So a question I really did have is, and I know a lot of my friends, my age group around here have the same question, and I think I know the answer. Why is there not a lot of entertainment in the brewery itself? Is it so? My answer would be, I think it might be yours. Is you want to bring back like the talking atmosphere where people kind of just have conversations and like are off their phone and there's not a lot of technology. But on the other hand, I feel like maybe a couple dartboards or the football games on like would help. So what's your answer to that? And I'm sure people have asked you that before.
I think you already answered it. We're just, it's when Rome doesn't have something, we try to fill that void. So what Rome didn't have is a place to meet up and hang out and talk and maybe even conduct business or something like that. So we do something really outrageous too. We don't serve food, and that was really hard for Rome to swallow. So once you get
that was
too
ironic.
much
Rome to swallow.
games
Don't serve
and
food.
noises and things like that, it can be very distracting. And then you'll end up, if we had those things, we would just be Dematios without food. You have a lot of TVs and a lot of dartboards and stuff like that. So we don't want to copy anybody. And, so I think we miss out on some business. I mean, lunchtime, when we're here at 12 and 1 o'clock and people walk in and they're like, oh, you don't have food? We say, well, no, but would you like to, we'll give you directions. So between Dematios and the Mill and Vigneto and Grandes, they get plenty of, the business that came here first. So it hurts a little bit. But you know what? It wasn't part of our plan, and we get what we get right now. Just kind of finish up on your question, is starting about 3-4 o'clock. We get a lot of people coming from Griffiths who want to talk about work, who want to just sit down and have a beer. They want to have conversations because they've been on computers all day long. They've been actually working in different locations. They can come here, have a beer, discuss it, cool atmosphere, not a lot of external things going on that's gonna be distracting. But when you say entertainment, I mean, we got live music right now.
They're setting up right now, right? I saw that when I went out there.
So
I do want to mention that I actually work for Booze
You gotta
Allen.
get closer.
I mean,
There
I'm
you go.
pretty damn close.
I can hear it. I'm telling you.
took a long
So I
He did
That's what
take a
we
long
do.
break.
Tit for tat.
True.
So I work for Booze Allen, and you obviously know, was it a few months ago, we had a hiring event here where literally we came in, everyone got 2 drinks, and there were tables set up, and you walk in the door, and you get interviewed, you got a drink in your hand, and you get interviewed. I feel like that is such a cool idea between you and Booze Allen or whoever set it up. I know it doesn't really matter because you're still facilitating it. There's nothing out there like that. Think about it. When's the last time you had an interview where you had a beer in your hand?
right?
I mean, you just don't.
But we have this space, and it's not like we have a lot of space, but it's kind of a blank space out there.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of stuff going on, but people drinking beer, and it's usually, it's kind of quiet.
Yeah.
And if you pick the right day, or you actually rent this building on a Monday, I mean, on Mondays we're not open, so we rent the building out to whoever wants to use it for parties.
Yeah.
And man, you got an entire brewery to yourself, for a couple $100.
And you mentioned like the entertainment factor, right? People like that, like Booze Allen coming in to do business, they don't want a football game on. They don't want Monopoly on the tables, whatever entertainment there is. They want a very business-like environment, and that's kind of a niche you're filling, right? Because by nature, you're...
It is, and we're probably guilty of, we probably draw an older crowd, but that's really, that older crowd's in the afternoon,
Yeah.
Day drinkers, they want to go home by 6, 7, and then at night we'll get, some of the younger people. But I think that may be something we're lacking. We don't get the younger people. And maybe I miss it right now, but we're
I don't think you care.
we're working
right?
through it a little bit.
I really don't think you care.
I was just gonna say, does it really matter what the crowd is, as long as not to make him a dick, but in our perspective, does it really matter who's coming in as long as someone's coming in?
It does.
Yeah?
It does matter.
Why?
Because guess what? There's never been a fight in this place. Now 3 years, no fights, not one,
That's great.
not one fight.
And that's what I'm saying.
People
No,
are more responsible. But what I'm finding is people your age are more responsible than people my age.
Really?
Yes, we've removed a couple of people, told them not to come back,
Wow.
and they were nowhere near your age. They
Really?
should have known a lot better.
Like old, like what?
I'm talking in their 60s.
Wow.
Yes, and just say,
Beer
what?
does things to people that
Had a good run.
alcohol in general.
So especially the beers here.
But yeah,
You got some heavy ones here.
but we're going to talk about music, though, right? Sometime in this
Whatever you want to talk about, we're talking about.
Because- drive this
You
conversation.
guys grew up here.
We're what?
Yeah.
You grew up here. So
Yeah.
like, when have you ever been to a place that has like live, good music twice a week? Like, has that ever happened in Rome?
Twice a week, probably not.
Like,
I'm not
you
gonna-
have,
what
but
do you
I'm
mean,
not
once a
talking
week?
like a
like
Friday night type deal.
Yeah, so we get something on the
What do you
weekends,
consider
maybe?
good music? That's
No,
the
usually,
problem.
I think Demadios has it once a week. I could be wrong. You probably know more about Demadios than I
I
do.
know. I mean, not that often anymore.
Okay,
But
well,
it's
I know
not-
last Friday they had something, but there's nowhere, and I know that's a thing people want is live music, but no, I can't name one place around here.
On your basis, no.
People wanted it, so we didn't know that.
Yeah.
We were going to do music like twice a month, and
Yeah.
there's so much talent in this town and surrounding towns, and people were like craving it, and they were asking for like, when are you going to do music again? So we kept bumping it up, and next thing you know, it's every Thursday and it's every Sunday, no matter what. I mean, I don't know if we've ever skipped one of those days unless it was a holiday.
And it's crazy because obviously you know me, like my dad owns the Palisades, whatever, and like I think we do music maybe once a quarter, let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun, and everyone comes out. I think you're seeing the same thing. You do music, but you're getting that crowd so many times because people are kind of yearning for that environment, but not just once a year or once a quarter. They want it like every week.
Like he already said, he looks for voids to fill, and that's another one. There's
Yeah,
people.
you're constantly filling like those small niches that bring in, let's say, 20 extra people. Every time you do that, you're adding up a crowd.
And
which is
it
smart.
always, I can't think of one time that it didn't work. I mean, the music, we got to pay for the music, but I always think we get enough people that kind of balances it out.
Yeah.
And we may go home at the end of the night like, well, we didn't really make any money, having the music tonight,
Doesn't
but I don't
matter.
think we lost anything either. And people really had a genuinely good time.
Yeah. And you're advertising every time.
Yes.
Even if you're not doing it intentionally, you're always advertising.
Yes.
It's the comeback. It's not the first time. It's the comeback.
These
that makes
musicians
money.
are getting they're getting good now because now
Yeah.
they're getting more gigs. They're playing
Yeah.
more. They're going out of town. We just got invited to a recording studio in Utica, and I don't know why they invited me, but there's one of our favorite artists was recording an album, and they said, you are one of the hubs for music in this part of the state now. And they wanted to propose something to me, like, well, I never even thought about it like that, that a recording studio is going to come to Copper City and say, hey, we have an idea for you because you know all these musicians, and it's going to get cool. It's going to get cool with the music
It's so
around
smart.
here.
You have the perfect spot for it. That's the best part. Like you have an ideal spot for it, and
The space is not, it's not big enough out there for the music we want to have, but you know what? The musicians are professionals. They make it work, and they
but you
make it
also
sound
don't
good.
want the crowd. the bigger your crowd gets, the more rambunctious they get.
Yeah, I want that though.
You want it?
Damn it, I want that.
I do like that.
Yeah, because the music we have is not like we're throwing down heavy metal every night. I mean, it's usually rock to classic rock, folk, good stuff like storytelling. It's really good music.
Okay.
And our crowd's gonna sit back, sip a great beer, and get into the music, do some clapping, do some talking.
Yeah.
But we have had heavy metal here twice. Like, I'm talking like your guys' heavy metal. Like, I'm not talking like old Poison back in the 80s. I'm talking like new age, scream your
like
throat
heavy
out
metal. Like
heavy
you don't know
metal.
the words they're saying. It's kind of
You
just
don't know it. Yeah.
yeah. You don't know nothing they're saying.
But you know what? And guess what? That crowd that showed up, people I'd never seen in my life, and I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Drank beer, very responsible. Doors closed at 11. They were all gone.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Not one instant. Everybody just sat there, their heads drinking their beer. I'm like, this is awesome.
For sure.
And it was loud.
Speaking of music, and you said something about not having the space, or at least space for the music that you want. Where we're sitting right now, for anyone who's watching the YouTube video, this is a hell of a space for some music, honestly. And like you said, I think you said you had a couple bands play back here. But this, you said you never intended for this. This is to be anything, right?
Actually, something that we can do. It was we did it as a launch party. We did it more as like an open house, so people could actually see what we had done. Brought a really cool folk like country band back here that everybody loves called the Old Main, and just showed off the space. But on a regular basis, we got to use this for production of beer, and doing what we do, and in the future, I don't know. We blew our allowance this year on building this part of the building, but we'd love to see something else that's close to here that was fit for music. You know, some of these old barns and things that are out, outside of town that hold these big events, hold weddings. We need one of those.
They did talk about they talked about an amphitheater over on base a while ago. Well, I also talked about a NASCAR track too, but
that would be sick.
If you could open,
I haven't heard that one in a while. Yeah.
You ever heard that one?
No, the amphitheater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they were trying to get it open over in on the bark in the back where it would be away from everything.
Right.
But it's a great idea.
It is a great idea.
People would go, and people would travel to go do it.
Well, you had Woodstock there. You got the room.
Yeah. You could open an NASCAR track, an airport, and the amphitheater, and you still have room left over. It's
Agreed.
so big back there, but that would draw people.
No, those are really good ideas. Honestly, I've heard a couple of those. But to keep rolling here, kind of switch the pace here. A couple questions just about the building itself. Obviously, we just talked about the music coming back here and the open house sort of thing. Recent renovations. This is your newest renovation? This back area we're in right now?
Yep. The original building. So we got that 3 years ago, and that was complete renovation too. Everything came out. It was just all it was when we got done was just brick, 4 walls and a concrete floor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, electrical, plumbing, everything came out. So we had to redo that whole thing. Once that was done, blew all of our money there. Worked for a couple of years, and saved up enough money to start this. We knew that this place wasn't big enough to make the manufacturing beer that we want to do. So we knew that in the beginning, but we knew we could get by with that little room that's behind us. So this was a big call. You're building a building on a building, and this right here costs just as much as the building.
When was
Wow.
it finished?
This was finished in August.
Okay.
Oh, so what, 4 months ago? Something like that? Less than that?
Yeah.
This is awesome. So, and you might not even know the answer to this. So what is the end game as far as renovation? I know you just said you're looking to maybe get something else for live
this
music,
is our end
but
game.
this is it?
Yeah, but we can't get any bigger legally. We can't get any bigger.
Oh.
So you can only build 20% addition onto a building that you already have, an existing building. So we've done that. This is as big as we can put onto this existing building. So we are going to go ahead and we're going to work on making parking a little bit easier for people.
Yeah.
And this right here is as big as we can get.
Is there not plans to do something here? I thought I saw something on Facebook literally 2 weeks ago about maybe it's a parking expansion or something to do with you. Is that?
Yep, that's
Okay.
So my wife was able to acquire the property next to us, which was just trees.
Okay.
And so the trees all came down during the summer, and we got them down, but we didn't. There's no time to pave it and do all that yet.
Yeah.
So next year, plus we're out of money. So next year,
He already said he spent his allowance.
Well, my wife bought it, so it's out of my bank account. So now I'm broke.
How it goes.
I want you to go with your question for the one you wanted to ask in the truck. Remember what you said? It's on the thing.
Oh.
The license?
Oh, okay.
I wanna get into that.
This has been actually a big question of mine, and I pretty much so our friend group are kind of on a consensus on this question. and don't get me wrong, this isn't an insult or anything. This is more of a targeted question. When or why is there no liquor license here yet? Especially with all these gluten-free things, all these restrictions.
What do you mean there's no liquor license? We have liquor license.
Oh, you do have a liquor license.
So yeah, but you need to sell beer, alcohol, wine, whatever.
So you have liquor.
Oh, absolutely. But we don't serve liquor.
Okay.
We could serve it, but we don't.
Whatever. So why isn't the liquor being sold? Because, and what I'm asking this is because all these people do like the low-carb diet, the gluten-free, that they can't drink the beers or whatever is in the beer. Why? What's your reasoning behind not serving the liquor?
Okay, they got a couple answers because you hit on some other things that we're still working on.
Okay.
So just doing hard liquor for us, a couple reasons. Behind the bar makes it messy. Bartenders got to know every drink, ice, all the mixers, the whole deal. But people that drink hard liquor, it changes the crowd. It will sometimes change the attitude of the crowd.
He's right.
And so, we've never really got into it, but we do. Periodically we'll break out Bloody Marys, we'll do Moscow Mules, but we're always very prepared for it. We want to keep our actual liquor license, so we don't want anybody to get in trouble. We want anybody to get overserved. And we were when we first started doing Bloody Marys, we had people coming in asking if they could do shots. And
instantly?
No, you can't do shots. But, well, come on, you got the blood, you got the vodka right there. But it's just we're just trying to keep things kind of in control, keep it in moderation. But with the low carb thing, you're right, we're missing a boat here on the low carb thing. I mean, you're going to get nothing but seltzer here, and I'm not going to mix it for you. But we spent today. You don't know this, but this place was dead at 2:00. So I spent the afternoon with my wife and a friend mixing fresh extracts for fruits with seltzers and vodka to try to come up with a really cool flavor that we can serve here. So we can serve liquor that has to be made in New York State. So that's our license. So we can't sell Tito's vodka. We can't sell, Jack Daniels, but we can sell Saratoga Pick 6 made in Saratoga. We can, there's a bourbon made in Cooperstown that we can sell. So we can use those things to enhance our menu. So I'm going to tell you in the next month or so, we should have a no-calorie, carbonated, crushable, fruity seltzer out there.
I mean, that's... And the problem is like, even for me personally, I don't drink beer that much. Like, I'll drink a good beer, for sure. But, like, if I'm going out for the night, I'm either drinking White Claws or I'm drinking a vodka soda. And I feel like that's a lot of people, right? Because it's some people just don't like beer that much. But if you expand that, right, then you're literally open to everyone. There's no one you can't serve at that point. I didn't even know you had a liquor license.
No, I agree with that. Absolutely. I mean, we brought in a lot more wine than we thought we would. We have so many darn ciders in cans right now. I can't believe how much cider we have just because gluten-free.
Yep.
And then we brought in wine slushies a couple of years ago, like a slushie machine. And that was a big investment, space investment, maintenance, keeping it clean. And, man, that thing paid for itself in the first month, I think.
And you even, go ahead, you even decided, what did you tell me when you walked in? What did you want? What was your order going to be?
One of the slushy.
That's literally what he said when he walked in.
But no, I think the overall theme of kind of the answers to these questions we're asking is he kind of is very selective on the crowd he wants to draw. So like he said, he is coming up with something that's going to potentially be 0 calories, whatever, and that'll bring a different crowd. But to answer you, and he already did, is I think he's selective on who he wants to come in here because he doesn't want it to be a chaotic just bar. It's a brewery. It's a little classier. Drinks are more expensive. Like he wants the right type of people in here.
It's stressful when your crowd is drunk. It's very stressful. I mean, it's stressful on your bartenders. It's stressful on you. You don't know how much people had to drink before they came in.
Yep.
And I do things that I shouldn't do, but I take people home. I mean, I have people that I know, and I'm like, listen, man. I'm like, Uber in Rome does not work.
No,
it takes forever to get an Uber.
There's like 3 of them, maybe.
I tried to Uber last weekend, and literally there was no one even doing it.
Come from Utica. So, you take it in your own hands. So small talents, people that we know, and I don't want to see anybody put in that situation. But so far, so good. I mean, I think all would say equals no fights. And I want people to come here and be happy. I don't want to see people getting all upset.
And the people in the crowd, well, let's say most of the people in the crowd don't want to be in an environment where there's tension or fights.
Yeah.
Like personally, I don't want to be somewhere where there's tension and there's people fighting. Like that's not what draws me into a bar, right? It's not what draws most people into a bar, except for the people that are looking to fight. So I do like that your intentions on that for sure.
Exactly. Just to keep this going, a couple questions to change the pace towards more of maybe your expertise. I know you said, I believe Eric was his name, that does the actual brewing, but to kind of get into more of the beer industry. How often do you guys change out these beers, these flavors? I guess you can call them flavors, but these beers, how often do you change them out? When are they available? Is everything like done here? Do you guys outsource? How's everything kind of, what's the process back here?
Yeah, process is Eric makes beer probably twice a week. Takes about a month for a beer to actually become carbonated, drinkable, clear, tasty. Lasts on tap. A beer probably will last 2 months, maybe, depending on what it is. Sometimes they last, 3 to 4 weeks, depending on the style and, how much we actually got out of that batch. We have 10 on tap all the time. So you're looking at a new beer coming on here, every couple of days. Sometimes you will change 2 or 3 beers out in a day. They all kick at the same time. So that's been the glory of these small breweries. You come in and you're like, oh my God, I haven't had any of these beers before. They change so much. Yeah. But if you really loved a certain beer,
and it's gone,
it's going to be gone.
It just happened to you.
Who knows when it's going to come back?
It'll be happening.
Because Eric, he loves to disappoint people. So when he makes a really good beer, he's like, well, I can't make that again because. So he made a pumpkin beer this year, which was totally against everything he wanted to do. So he makes a pumpkin beer, and the beer is incredibly good. I mean, it is incredibly good. And this beer's gone. We expect it to last till Thanksgiving. This beer has been gone since the 29th of October.
Yeah.
Wow.
maybe even a little before that. And guess what Eric said? I said, dude, there's no reason we can't drink a pumpkin beer in like January. He goes, well, I'm not going to make it, so. So it will come out again next fall, and that's the way he does it. He has an Irish red that goes so fast. I mean, it's almost like the taps are on fire. Makes it once a year.
The Woods Valley.
Woods Valley's, we crank that sucker out all the time.
Like, that's
what he asked for when he came.
I came and I was like, you got that? No, you ran out. I was like, no.
Yeah, we called Tim Woods early on when we in our first in 2017. And I called him on the phone and said, Tim, I got to ask you a favor. I said, I know you think it's cool that we named a beer the Woods Valley Wit, because we told him we were going to do it. And he said, yeah. I said, but it is our most popular beer. And he said, are you going to sue me if this beer becomes really popular? And, of course, Tim, he laughs. He goes, no, but I don't want to run out here at the ski area.
There you go. Keep him happy. Everyone's happy.
Yeah. That was one of your questions. What was your most popular beer? That's what you asked.
It is. That beer goes so quickly.
It's so good.
And we would have never thought. 4.5%. Beers that personally Eric and I we don't dig on Belgian, beers like that, the light ones like that.
It's
So
Belgian white, right?
yeah, it's Belgian wit, yeah. And not doing wrong, it's great beer,
Yeah.
but it's not a style that like many of us drink. Even the bartenders, not many people drink the wit.
Yeah.
So
Actually, I got to ask you a question. People on screen can't see, but do your lines actually run from those, or do you actually fill a keg with your beer?
good question. Yeah, so he's looking at great big silver tanks that are full of beer.
Yeah.
So those are fermenters and bright tanks. You can serve directly from the bright tanks. Those are the two little ones you can't see over here to the left.
Okay.
But we don't. We keg all of this beer.
Okay,
It
so
all
you keg
goes in a cooler, and then it all gets pumped to the taps from
Okay.
there. So
All
we
right.
would love to serve like that, but we just don't have that. That means we'd have to have 10 of those bright tanks back there, all full of beer and ready to go.
Oh, okay.
And then we'd also have to have a bunch of fermenters, more than what we have right now. So that right there, bridge is too far, but we're kind of hoping that the Woods Valley Wit, we bought an extra big tank for that. And
Yes.
we're looking at a system where we can try to serve just from the tanks. We never have to keg that beer. We can just go ahead and serve it from
Awesome.
tap.
And we will take a picture. We'll take a picture of what we were just talking about, because from the window you can kind of see all these big tanks, and usually people serve from kegs. Well, I was just kind of curious.
Yeah,
to
we
see.
do. And if we could avoid it, man, that would be awesome. Because filling kegs is probably one of Eric's least favorite things to do. And dragging a 170-pound keg across the building up into a cooler and then stacking it and then moving all the other kegs around so it's all nice and clean and neat in there. We're too old for that, man.
Yeah.
Just speaking of kind of the different kind of beers you guys produce and different things like that, and you were saying how a lot of people don't really like the wits and the lighter things. We had a question on here about the environment around here, and we kind of already hit on it multiple times with the older age group and stuff like that. But as far as like drinking personalities, I guess that's a term I could use. Do you see a lot of people coming in here because you have things like the IPAs and the darker beers and the higher percentages, things like that? Or do you see people coming in here just getting the lighter beers and just, I mean, maybe you see both. What do you think is like a higher percentage? Do you see people, because I've came in here and I've gotten flights, like I like to get your flights, and I'll drink 2 flights and I'll be like pretty good, like if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you guys have some beers here that can do some damage. So
Yeah,
is there people
40
coming in
ounces
here
beer.
just for those?
So, you know what? I don't think I think yes to all of it. They come in. Some do come in just for the light stuff. They get that one beer they want, and that's what the one they're going to drink. I would say maybe lean a little more the other way. That people come in just for the variety. You know, what's on now, or a new. You know, because we do a app called Untapped, and every time we put a beer on, if you like Copper City on Untapped, it'll pop in your phone. Hey, they put on a new beer today. People will show up for that beer. So I think I would say they're probably a little more to the side of people coming for the variety, not for just get same beer, you know, over and over again. That's more of your. I mean, beers like, you know, Budweiser and Labatt's, those beers, they will taste exactly the same every time. Our Delta Double, which is an 8.5% IPA, sometimes it's 8.2, sometimes it's 8.6.
Interesting.
You know, but the flavor is very close, but it's not reproducible the way, you know, your big beers are.
Another question we had on here.
That's actually interesting.
I didn't know
I had
that
no idea that would change.
the same beer, different percentage of alcohol?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a chicken wing sauce.
What?
Maybe a little thing.
It's like, no, it's like your father's peppers and onions.
Okay,
because
yes,
sometimes I
yes.
can put them on my burger and they're all good and I get a little sniffle. Sometimes I can't take more than 2 bites and I'm crying. I'm like, where's these fucking peppers?
I really didn't. I always thought beer would like be the same ingredients. That's actually crazy. Like you can get
Yeah.
8.2.
But your malts, you know, this big old pallet of malt, that changes a little bit the way they malt it, where they got it from.
Wow.
The hop variety might be really fresh, might be a little older, may have come from a different area. Because our hops here, like Cascade, Centennial, Chinook, that grow in this area, they grow in the West too. And you can get that exact same hop grew somewhere else. It's going to taste different.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That's actually crazy.
I never would have thought about something like that.
Because think about how does like if Bud, well, I guess Bud like it's the same stuff over and over again. But that's actually crazy.
Oh yeah, they don't mess around. They have a very specific supplier for their malts and their
Yeah.
grains,
And they don't vary.
And they don't vary.
No, that stuff
and their
wouldn't
hops
change.
have got to be
Wow.
perfect. And they have a panel of people that taste every batch of beer, and they all have to agree that it tastes like every Budweiser they ever had.
It tastes like.
And if it doesn't, that's when you get like Bud Genuine Draft or whatever. It's like you get an offshoot.
What's the Bud Light
Or they
Premier?
just
The Bud Light. What was it? Blue Light Premier or whatever.
or they put Bud Light Lime. Oh, it's lime.
Bud Light Platinums?
Yeah,
Platinums? Yeah.
Or platinums, yeah. Or they just pour it down the drain. I mean, that's an option, you know.
Wow.
I know they don't want to do that, but you know, it's better than somebody going, "This Budweiser does not taste like a Budweiser." Because if you drink Budweiser, it better taste like a Budweiser.
Yeah.
Exactly. Another question regarding just how all your beers are, I guess, a little bit different. Do you guys have anyone reaching out that want your beers, like restaurants or local, like other places, venues? And if so, do you provide them? As far as like, do you let other places sell your beer?
Yep. So if they have a liquor license, like
I mean,
Palisades,
just the
like
questions.
D'Amato's doesn't carry. So we had so Vigneto, Palisades, Marcy Beverage, Modus down in Utica. We're
Woods
in
Valley.
about 6 or 7 places right now.
Woods Valley sells it, right?
Woods Valley up in the
I hope.
Yacht
They
Club.
sell the.
The
Do
Woods
they
Valley
sell
Wit.
their own, or do they sell like whatever you have, like whatever your special is for that?
Woods
one?
Valley, Don?
Yeah.
So they usually just get the wit. That's all they really want. is
They
the wit.
sell
And if we
their
do run out of the
main
wit,
beer.
they will get something else.
Okay.
But we can only distribute so much beer
Yeah.
because if we run short at the brewery, it's not a good business plan. You want to sell it over the bar.
Brew with no beer.
Definitely make a little more.
Hell
money
of a
selling
business
over the
model
bar.
right there. Couple questions about just events and stuff that you guys do here, stuff in the summer. Obviously, there's the World Series of Bocce across the street once a year. You guys do good business around that time. What is your experience
you know,
with that?
It is good, but you know, it's they come across the street here to relax, to get some air conditioning,
Yeah.
really chill out, talk,
AC.
and rest. So it is better business, but it's not like you're thinking like it's going to be packed in here. People, when they want to go see botch, that's what they want to be over there because
Yeah.
there's entertainment, there's beer, there's food. You know, you get to watch the matches, and hell, ask Eric. We spent every day over there. We went there every day when that was going on. And it was always good here, but you know, it's more fun over there.
Actually, let me ask you a
Go ahead.
question about because you mentioned food. All right, so let me ask you, because I don't know if it was your idea or if it just kind of fell on you where, like, you don't have a kitchen, right? And you knew that people wanted to come in and eat. So what was it your idea to start having the food trucks, or was it kind of like a proposal to you where, like, look, we'll set up outside and we're going to bring you that extra business just because we have food here?
Yeah, part of our business plan. So we've
Come
been
on,
to many
dude.
breweries before,
Well,
and so it's something we had seen happen, and we didn't care that. I mean, we knew that they would make money.
Yeah.
And we're not going to charge them to be here. They're on
you
our
don't
property,
charge them?
So we don't charge them at all. No,
Okay.
this is all on them. So that's their business. This is ours.
Okay.
But the two complement each other. So
Yeah.
just had a
Yeah.
beer. Need to get something to eat. It works out really, really well.
Yeah.
And we've been through many food trucks, and we're seeing food trucks that are actually starting businesses now. So because they're doing well.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, back when he was talking about like DiMattio's and Vigneto and people coming in and asking for food, and he would like, hey, I can tell you a place to go get food, blah blah blah. It's got to be the smartest thing he's done. Not the smartest, but a very smart
It's one
idea.
of the smartest things he's done,
Because
food brings-
instead
food
of-
and beer are like,
Yeah, instead of directing someone down the street who, they'll go get food and then they'll realize that place has beer. So why the hell would I go back here to, okay, I'll just go order something from the parking lot and I'm not going to leave. My truck's parked there and I got beer sitting on the counter.
see,
So
I just didn't
that's
know if
very
you were
smart.
Charging, because even if you charge people, it's still smart, because people would pay to sit out front, because when they walk out after they've been drinking, now they're hungry. So that the food truck is going to make business, and even I like it both ways, I guess. So either way, you don't.
So does he.
Well, guess what?
You literally don't lose.
Look
That's what I
how
like.
different this is. This is so different to Romans. Romans had hardest time for the first year trying to. I mean, our favorite little line around here is, you know what you should do? We love hearing, you know what you should do.
Yeah.
Because we want to say, you know what you should do? Because everybody's got a great idea. When we didn't have food, everybody said, you need to just do this. You need to just do burgers. You need to just do that. I'm like, just do burgers. Like, just like DiMattio's, who does, who's going to beat that burger? Who's going to beat the Mills burger? Who's going to beat your dad's burger?
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably my favorite burger right now. I'm not going to beat that stuff, and I don't know how to cook. And Eric, who knows if he could may make beer all day and then tell him to cook too. Like, that's going to work out. But you're also promoting the businesses that are around us. So Vigneto, there's nights they can't keep up with deliveries.
Yeah.
I mean, they only had one guy to deliver. Poor guy's here every 30 minutes delivering food. And he's supposed to be cooking too. So, we allow people to bring in, bring a picnic, bring
So
your
you're still
food.
doing that, where you can bring pizza,
absolutely.
pizza or something
Yeah,
like
bring
that.
your own stuff. Have it delivered here. I mean, the more food, the better. It just means I don't have to do it. And plus, I usually get the leftovers anyways.
And you're selling beer. Oh, you want to wash that down? Here we go. I got beer
You're
for you.
thirsty
No
after
water. No water here.
That's awesome.
Smart. It's very smart.
That's what I thought about it earlier. I was like, it's the smartest thing I've ever heard.
We have friends that have restaurants, and your father would back me up, I'm sure, but keeping a cook and getting your menu the same all the time and making a cook stay for more than 6 months at a time. I'm watching our friends go through it. We get some friends down in Oriskany who, their kitchen's important, but their food is very good. And when a chef or a cook leaves, everything kind of goes on hold.
Yeah.
And the whole business kind of stops. Like, well, what do we do now? So we don't want to have somebody else running our business, which would be our cook, basically.
Yeah. I like it. You mentioned, like, you kind of started. You did start in Rome, because if you opened a business in Rome before you, without food that sells beer, there'd be riots in the street. People like,
I think there almost was.
I'm sure. It's just, it was so. I don't know what the word is for. Unconventional.
Yeah, no, for sure.
People haven't seen it. You did
There
it.
was legitimate arguments.
I
Legitimate
can
arguments.
guarantee
Like, I'm
there
like,
was.
listen, it's not going to happen. I said, but if you would start a restaurant, I would love it. I said, there's a building across the street you can buy. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm like, but
Yeah,
that was
ideas.
kind of our whole plan is, I tell you, it all goes back to my wife. She is the love for the city. She wants to see the city be successful if we can be successful. So if we're doing okay and we get a restaurant down here, like, yeah, now we got a restaurant down here. Now we can get something else down there. So it was all in if you read our business plan, that is the plan. And the plan was never to have a restaurant.
I was gonna say that's actually cool that they're like, I mean, not that I know thousands of business owners, but it seems like they're really supportive of everyone else doing their own thing rather than like competing. It's more like he just said, if someone opened a restaurant next door, that'd be awesome. Normally someone would be like, it's competition. It's going to take business away from us. If they have alcohol at that restaurant, then we're screwed. But he's literally saying,
We just keep ducking and moving.
Yeah.
We've always got new ideas. I got another one coming out. It's gonna be It's gonna be awesome. We got one coming out in 3 weeks that you're gonna like, what? What is this? Sweet. So we love being chased. We love it.
Yeah.
We did Bloody Marys. When we first opened up, we did Bloody Mary Sunday. That's all we called it, Bloody Mary Sunday. I had enough Bloody Mary mix and vodka to make about 50 to 70 Bloody Marys. We were out of everything in 45 minutes. The place was. I must have gave away $500 worth of beer that day because I didn't want people to get mad. I'm like, I'm sorry. I said, I don't know. I didn't know the city wanted Bloody Marys this bad. And then just watch what happened. And so guess what? Tony DiMatteo got the overflow. He was pissed because everybody wanted Bloody Marys because they couldn't get them here. So it was an idea that, you find these things that the town doesn't have. Like you said, barbecue earlier. Like, man, you start a barbecue place because Rome doesn't have one. Rome didn't really have Bloody Marys going. And now look at Rich DeSalvo. His Bloody Marys, they must cost $500 because he's got shrimp and lobster. He's got these Bloody Marys that are huge. Yeah. It just, you get a good idea, and people are like, well, I can take that and make that even better, And
I'm pretty sure, this is not a fact by any means, but I'm pretty sure you started Bloody Mary Sunday, and then the Delta Lake Inn started their all-you-can-drink mimosa and Bloody Mary Sundays.
Nice.
I'm almost
no. I would guarantee it, but you know what?
I'm almost sure you started that.
He said he loves being chased. So
I mean, not care.
That one didn't. That's guaranteed only been like a year and a half to 2 years old, and I'm pretty sure I have always saw on your Facebook that you started that probably 6 months after you opened.
Oh yeah, yep.
So I mean,
but it's
I'm
always paired
with
live music.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that God, some of those days they were just chaos. So we end up using an entire room of this building to just make Bloody Marys as fast as we could that day. So they were already they were pre-mixed. We had all the stuff right there. So if you want a Bloody Mary, we just made it hot, medium, mild, and it was just like an assembly line. We had 3 people in the kitchen. Tell you.
It's like you said, always looking for holes in the market.
So that has come down now. Now Bloody Mary's just kind of like, okay, cool. It's Bloody Mary Sunday. We don't get that many people.
So what's next?
So I can't tell you.
Oh, we need the exclusive. We need the exclusive.
You got to go on the Facebook.
I don't have much more. Do you have anything else? That's what I'm saying. We've been going. Do you have anything you want to promote? Anything you want to talk about that we haven't hit? We're down to talk about whatever and anything.
Name it. We missed it. You bring it up.
I don't think you missed it. I mean,
no,
you didn't miss it. You're talking about competition, and it's something we haven't seen yet, and we're so happy we haven't seen competition yet. Eric just went and brewed a beer with Woodland that's 17 minutes away. So those 2 brewers got together. They just made a beer together. So 2 different breweries who do pretty much the same thing. Really no competition there. It's a promotion right now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So when we're doing the same thing, so if we serve food, I think it would start to get competitive. So I like that we don't really compete with anybody in Rome for anything. And when we close at 10 o'clock at night, tell me DiMatteo's in the mill. I'm like, yeah, Copper City just closed because we just got all these people.
Exactly.
It's awesome.
I don't think you should serve. I think the way you did it.
I don't think he plans on serving food.
Well, because you could probably have there's another side of the business that I could hit, but you're being smart by hedging that and saying I don't care about it. I'll put one out in front. I'll put a food truck out in front, and guess what? I'll still get the same business. I think it's smart. Because a lot of people would be tempted to be like, guess what? I have this extra space. I'll open a kitchen. But you're actually playing it smart and doing it the right way.
Yeah. I have seen some breweries buy a food truck, like they own it, and they're the ones that run the food truck. You never know where the business is going to turn. There may be a day when man, we're just not making money anymore, Mm-hmm. And we need to do something different, And if we're going to add food to it, we can't add it in this building, really. Yeah. So we could do a food truck outside. I was in Asheville, North Carolina, big brewery, big brewery, and sure enough, out front is a food truck that they owned, and they did all the food for it. They had to give up any space. The food truck could pull away, go anywhere they wanted to on an offsite. So there's a lot of ideas out there, It's just like, I don't know. Keep your ear to the ground. I mean, liking us on Facebook is pretty cool. And just, looking at our notifications. We don't post that much, but we always post the music of what's going on. I'm telling you, we're a killer place for a first date. And I'll throw that out there. Because you're going to give your date live music and good beer and probably some food they've never had before out of this guy called Spuds. He's awesome. I don't know. We're kind of making a cool date atmosphere, you know.
Well, go ahead and plug your Facebook.
Yeah, I was
by
gonna
the
say,
way.
dude, what's your Facebook? Is it just Copper City Brewery?
City Brew, yeah.
Copper City Brewery. Do you guys have Instagram, Twitter, anything else?
Instagram, of course. We really, I'm 50 years old, man. I use Facebook. That's the way it is.
Yep.
Twitter does not get used by us whatsoever. But
Get
yeah,
on
we do
Twitter.
the Instagram often enough. Just put out whatever new beers are there. So you go to our webpage. You can check out what we do there. So you can always check out what beers are on tap through our webpage, and get our whole history and the whole boring deal.
All right, guys. We'll link everything that he just said on the post when we put it up. We'll do the Facebook. We'll do the Instagram. I kind of just want to say one thing kind of before we wrap this up is just an overall theme that I kind of caught as this episode went on, and it's also something that he Dan said before we started the episode when we were setting up. We were talking about like a barbecue place and a bunch of other just like ideas, and he kind of mentioned, as he said throughout the podcast, is everyone has these ideas. Excuse me. Just go out and do it. And that was like one thing he literally said. It was just we were just talking, shooting the shit, and that's kind of the theme throughout this message is go out and do something different, look for a hole in the market, something that's not there, avoid to fill. And I mean, you can do something like this, a great business that we were lacking, and now it's obviously prospering. So I just want to leave you guys with that. RJ, you got anything else? I kind of killed it right there, huh?
All right. Yeah,
He's thinking about starting a barbecue restaurant.
Yeah. He's quitting his job in the morning.
Yeah, I'm gonna take
I've been
these
thinking about
chafers.
brisket ever since we started talking about it.
But no, we appreciate you coming on. We really do.
I appreciate you coming down here. This is very cool. Any way we can get out there to, like I said, I think we're kind of missing a little bit of your genre. We're not getting the younger people out here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, you bring a date here and sit in a nice leather chair by the fireplace and talk for a few minutes before you go out.
Exactly.
Good stuff.
That's the other theme.
Dating
Come here
advice by
for your
Dan
first
Frieden.
date. Come to
Hey,
Copper City Brewery
love
for your
it.
first date. As always, guys, actually, welcome back to season 3. We appreciate you guys coming out. Appreciate you guys listening, hopefully watching. If you haven't been watching, go over and check out the YouTube. The video is great atmosphere. We're in the back of the brewery. And hope everyone has a great week, and we'll definitely talk to you guys next week. See ya.
Cheers, fellas.